Welcome to the WakeUp show. Here in Norway, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. In San Francisco, it's 11 p.m. in the evening. And in Australia, it's around, I think, 2 p.m. So we are ready for a new episode. How do you know what you're supposed to do on this earth? How are you going to spend your time? What's your purpose? What's your direction? And how do you know if all of that is just influenced by a lot of opinions or by a lot of marketing or all this kind of social media, what people talk about? What is actually your calling? That's something we're going to find out in this episode. And I hope you're ready for a wake-up experience.
Oh, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, I guess good night, but not yet, because this is the Wake Up Show, and I guess you're here, so then you're awake. And that feels good, right? Whew. So this is the Wake Up Show. Welcome to our third episode. This is live, and you've already met Rabbe, and we're going to meet our wonderful guest today, which is Jannecke. Hi, Jannecke.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, we're great. I'm great. Couldn't be better. Now, Jannecke, thank you so much for getting up super early in the morning to hang out with me and Rabbe here at our wonderful little studio.
Anytime.
Next time, even earlier. That's great. So, for those who do not know who Jannecke is, who are you?
Wow, that's one of the biggest questions there are, Ulf.
Well, if you're gonna boil it down to the pure essence of the whole thing, who are you?
Who I am, that's what I'm basically trying to find out.
Nice.
Which was an inspiration to why I started doing what I'm doing. So it's more easy to tell about what I'm doing other than who I'm being. I think, though, we are creating ourselves all the time. Like I used to try to find myself, but now I'm more concerned about creating myself.
Oh, that's a good perspective. I like that.
Yes, because there's basically nothing to find. I think sometimes we walk around in circles, but sometimes we have to do that in order to come home to ourselves. Nevertheless, like personal development and why I'm here on Earth has always been a big interest to me. I've always been very, very curious about who I am and why I'm here. So this has started a journey that I started really seriously in 2012 when I started interviewing people about the big questions of life, existential questions. And then it seemed to be this just drive within me. I couldn't stop doing it. And I met amazing transformational teachers from all over the world. I traveled a bit outside Norway, went to the US and Denmark and Scandinavia and several places. And I got to know a lot of amazing spiritual teachers. And then it just kind of evolved from there. So I started my own company. So we're building that now, me and my colleague. And we've started a membership. And I really want to help people step into their soul power and start consciously create their lives and do it, to make actually a conscious decision to go on this path. Other than just wake up to it all of a sudden because something perhaps difficult happens, because a lot of people wake up through difficult experiences. But I think you don't have to wait for a difficult experience to wake up. You can actually start to live a more conscious life and discover who you are and create more of who you are and start to create more consciously. So that's my passion, and also to inspire people to follow their dreams and their calling. which is a huge thing, a huge topic. So yeah, it started with YouTube videos, and then now I'm doing live interview evenings in Oslo and my membership, and I have also a magazine, and that's what I love doing. So I'm basically following my dream and my passion.
Yeah. Wow. That's so great.
Thank you.
That's some true wisdom from the north.
I hope so. I had a dream about wisdom from north. It was just a shock to wake up because I had to wake up so early this morning because of this show. And I dreamt that wisdom from north was a name that was taken like 1,000 years ago. And I was so upset that somebody had taken that name.
Bastards took your name.
Okay, but maybe it's a good name because it was used 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, it's a stayer. But so this calling of yours, or this passion, how did you find it?
Yeah, it kind of evolved. I think it has always been a part of me. I started out as a musical theater artist when I was young. So I started as little Cosette in Les Miserables, and I did Annie in Annie and all these big roles when I was a child. And I thought that was my dream and my calling, and I loved being on stage. At the same time, I always had this curiosity about the big questions of life. And it actually started with my family spoke about some curses in Egypt.
Ooh.
Yeah, and my curiosity was just sparked immediately when I was 11 years old, because I was like, oh my goodness, do you mean to say that the adults don't have all the answers? And then I was like, whoa, life is magical. And then I became really interested in everything galactic out there. Like, are we alone? And I started very, very early with that. So in high school, what's before high school again? Okay, I don't remember what that is.
Well, I guess you
English.
could call it like...
Elementary school or?
yeah, middle school.
In middle
or,
school.
Yeah.
In middle school. I was like known as the UFO girl.
Oh, you're the UFO girl.
Yes.
That's a nice... Did you enjoy that title at the time?
I'm not sure.
Are we
in the
alone?
yearbook. Yeah. And I was like surprised that nobody else was like curious about that.
Yeah.
I was like, but it's so interesting. It's so interesting. So I think it started very early with me, but I felt like I couldn't do anything about it because I couldn't work with it. It wasn't like a profession. Okay, I'm interested in this stuff, but what can you do about it? And I'm not like a clairvoyant. I don't have any abilities. So I just pushed it away, but it was always with me. And then, like I said in the beginning, you don't have to meet difficulties. Well, a lot of times you do before you really wake up. And
Yeah, they can
did.
help you if you're interested. But obviously, you might also just seek the adventure without all the trauma of trouble.
Right. I mean, there can be just a longing there.
Yeah.
A feeling of, is this it? Or is there more to me? Am I in the right job? What did I love to do as a child? I mean, you can start to ask yourself questions and reflect and contemplate whether you are using all your potential.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that we run so much on the autopilot. We don't ask ourselves the important questions like, okay, am I where I really want to be in life? Because I am a powerful creator, and most people don't know that either. We feel like we perhaps just have to fit into this box and just make it go around, make ends meet, and I just happen to end up like this, and I just have to accept it. I think we have much more power than we believe. Especially our minds are much more powerful than we believe. I'm reading this book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and by Robin Sharma, and it's really inspiring me how our minds are so powerful, and how we can control our thoughts and then control more of our destinies. And I don't think we can control everything at all, but I think we can become more conscious creators with the universe, with the intelligence of the universe. And that is something that was completely new to me when I was 20. I learned this stuff. And I became very interested in quantum physics and seeing how science can actually are proving spirituality in many ways, like ancient spiritual principles. And I think this is actually the future. A lot of people are like, oh, this is woohoo stuff. And of course, to many it is. But if you start to delve into it, it makes perfect sense. Like when you really open your mind to it, it does not make sense that it's just birth to death and nothing more. Because we are energetic beings. Everything is energy. Einstein said that. So we cannot die. We can just change. And that is science. So to me, it's not strange at all. It's the most natural thing.
Yeah. But it's that's the challenge with change is that you have to let go of what you are to become something new. And I think that is what frightens most of us, is the fact that in order to actually get from the point where you are, where you typically don't want to be, you have to be willing to change.
Yes, and change is always scary, but life is about change.
Yeah.
Like everything changes all the time, like nothing stays the same.
No. You speak of this the universe, the wisdom of the universe, the power of the universe. What is that?
Nobody knows that.
Oh, come on. What's Jannecke's take?
Are you asking what is God?
What is God?
I have no idea, Ulf. Nobody knows, I believe. However, I have interviewed very many people who have had near-death experiences, and that is always so intriguing to me. And those stories are different, but some of them have a red thread that they've told me, and of course, their readers, they've written books about this and been on shows, etc., that they meet a great light. A light that is like much more bright than we can ever imagine, and that they basically feel like they come home and they come back to a source in a sense. They come back to where they come from, where they originate from.
Yeah.
I remember I went to India and they called God all there is, like all there is. Like even this mug is God.
The smug mug.
The smug, the smug mug. All there is God. And I like that concept that we are God. Because when I feel like I'm part of everything, I'm you and I, like when I look at you, I look into God's eyes in a sense. I think that's a beautiful thought. And then we are like pieces of God, just thrown down here on this planet to have an experience and to experience ourselves as, or experience or live the question, what is God in a sense? So my take on it is that we come from the source and then we're split into many pieces. And then our journey is to wake up to actually who we are, which is this divine intelligence and love and light. And that's the journey. And I think people who meditate understands what I talk about, because when you meditate and when you have mystical and spiritual experiences, you actually have an experience often of other levels of consciousness. And that is kind of the problem also, because when you want to tell people who are not on the spiritual journey or who are not open to spirituality that there are different levels of consciousness, of course they wouldn't believe you because they haven't had that experience. So what I feel I can only do is just talk about my experience and say, hey, this is what I have experienced, and this is what these people that I've interviewed have experienced. And then if something resonates within you, if it rings as true, then this might be something for you to look into. If it doesn't, that's okay too, because I think we're all on different journeys here. We're all spiritual beings, nevertheless. That's my either if we know it or not, in a sense.
How does it link to the topic of our episode, the calling? What
Right.
does that mean?
I think that I have this theory that if you're searching for your calling, it is because there is one to find. Because if you weren't searching, you wouldn't have the thought in the first place. It wouldn't come to you as this element in your life. Because what is coming to us is from the soul, that deeper urge or whisper, that is coming from something deeper within us. And I think or believe that the divine intelligence is so profoundly intelligent that it knows exactly what the planet needs. So, for instance, it knows that the planet needs this show that you have, for instance. That's
Yes,
a
the
good
planet
example.
needs this show.
Yes,
Planet needs this show.
it does.
It needs this show.
For more
Wants
people.
this show.
Yeah, to wake up, to
Yeah.
be inspired, to think out of the box, to, whatever your intention is, that is what the planet needs. And you could have said no to that calling. You could have, I mean, you guys are working with film and TV, and you could have just done that and done different projects. You didn't have to do this. Wake up 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock to
Or
do
5.
this. Or 5.
Because I live in Drammen.
Yeah, and you have kids and
Have
everything.
to
I mean,
commute. Yeah.
it would be so much easier not to do it, but you feel this calling, right, to do it. And that's, I think, is the intelligence telling you that, you need this and the planet needs this to raise the vibration, to help the ascension process, because I think we are in a very special time where people are waking up to who they are. And not only that, it doesn't have to be so, we don't have to only speak about in these spiritual terms. It can just be to follow your dreams. Because if you have this dream, it's there for a reason. Like if you have a dream of opening up this bakery, that thought doesn't come to you by chance. I don't have that wish to start a bakery.
There will be no Jannecke Bakery.
I don't think so.
Pastries from the north.
Who knows?